Hello students, Standard English Medium. Today we are going to start the revision of chapter number 14 in chemistry. That is chemical effects of electric current. Now everybody is familiar with electricity. In our daily life, so many things we are using, so many devices we are using which runs with electricity. For example, the fans, tube lights, bulbs, refrigerator, air conditioner, washing machine, your toaster, mixer grinder, that is in our house. And not only in the houses, but it is used everywhere. In the offices, in the factories to run the machines, the computers, and so many more. So in every aspect of life, in the hospitals also, etc., we are using the electricity. So now there are different effects of electric current. So now first of all we know that electricity only passes through certain materials. It cannot pass through each and every material that we know. So our first question is, what are good conductors? Give two examples of a good conductor. So now as we talked now that not all the materials allow the electricity to pass through them. So the materials or the substances which allow the electricity to pass through them easily, then they are known as the good conductors. So when we pass that electricity, they will allow. For example, what do we use in our electric joints? Obviously, the metals like copper, aluminium, etc. So the copper, aluminium, iron, gold, silver, all the metals are good conductors. One of the non-metal like graphite that is used in pencil is also a good conductor of electricity. So these materials, when we join in the circuit, they will allow the current to pass through them. So they are known as good conductors. The next question is, what are insulators or bad conductors? Give two examples of insulators. Insulators are those which do not allow the electricity to pass through them, and therefore they are known as insulators. We know that the electric wires are coated with some materials like rubber or PVC. That materials do not allow the current to pass through them. So when we touch the wire along with that coating, we do not get shock because they don't allow the electricity to pass through them. So they are called insulators. PVC, bakelite, melamine. Bakelite is the things by which the switches are made. Our switches, plugs, etc. They are made from either the plastic or some bakelite, and that materials. Also our wood. Wood is also insulator. It does not allow. So wood, rubber, plastic, bakelite, etc. are bad or the poor conductors, or they are also known as the insulators. So that are the examples that we know about the insulators. Now, what do you mean by electric current? We know that when we switch on, then the fan or light or any electrical device start working. Why? Because the electric current is passing through the circuit, and if the circuit is closed, then the current will pass through it and the device will work. But actually, what is the electric current? You know that when we switch on the electric switch, what happens? Here in wires, the negatively charged particles, which are known as electrons, those electrons are flowing in that wire. So the flow of negatively charged electrons in the conducting wire, that is known as electric current. Generally, the electrons are there in the wire, but that time when we touch, don't get shocked because it is steady. But when we switch on and the electrons start flowing in the same direction. So when the electrons are flowing, then it is known as electric current. So what is electric current? It is the flow of negatively charged electrons, that is known as the electric current. Now, what is a tester, and how can you test whether liquids conduct or do not conduct electricity? So now, how can we know that materials that given are conductors or insulators? The device which is used to test whether the given material is conductor or insulator is known as electric tester. It looks like a screwdriver, or we can make a differently made also. We have to take a shaft, wires, electric bulb. Now we have to join them in a circuit and keep the two ends open. Now when we keep the two ends open, it means that the circuit is not closed. In this situation, the current will not pass through the circuit and bulb will not glow. Now when we put some materials between that two ends, then what will happen? If that material is conductor, the current will pass through it and the bulb will glow. But when we join a material which is insulator, then the bulb will not glow because the circuit will not be closed and the current cannot pass through that material. So if you join a copper wire, aluminium wire, pencil lead, or your iron nail, etc., bulb will glow. It means that it is good conductor. And if you put a piece of wood, a rubber, your eraser, or a plastic material, etc., then they will not allow the current to pass through. So they are the insulators. So that is the tester we can make. Now, how can we test whether liquids conduct or do not conduct electricity? For that also, we have to use the same tester. Or sometimes we can use the tester which is using LED bulbs in place of the normal bulbs. Because sometimes if the current is very low, then the normal bulb will not glow. So now to test whether the liquids are conductor or not, what do we do? Then what we have to do? We have to put that both ends which are kept open in the tester. We have to put them into the liquid and then check the position of the bulb. When you put the two ends in that liquid and if the bulb will glow, then we can say that that material is the conductor. But if the bulb will not glow, then we can say that this material is, when that liquid is insulator. For example, if you take distilled water do not have any type of salt dissolved. Therefore, the distilled water is an insulator. But if you take water or dissolve some salt or put some acid or base in the water, then it will allow the electricity to pass through them. So, by putting that two ends in the liquid, we can check whether the liquid are conductor or do not conduct the electricity. So now the next question is that with an activity so that lemon juice and vinegar are good conductors of electricity. For that, as I told you, that when we make that tester, we have to take that vinegar or lemon juice here and then put that two ends of the wire which are connected with the bulb and the cell. Now, when you put that two ends in the lemon juice, then because of they are conductor, the bulb will glow. You have to put a key here. When you put the key in, the current will start flowing and the bulb will glow. Now, similarly, replace lemon juice by the vinegar because they contain acids. So, they are the good conductor of electricity. So, by this activity, we can show that the vinegar and our lemon juice are conductors of electricity. So, the liquids which are either acidic, basic, or having some salts, they are all good conductors of electricity. But the distilled water is bad, or the insulator, you can say that. Explain why bulb glows on passing electricity. So when we pass the electricity, then because of the heating effect, there are three effects of electricity. Heating effect of electricity, magnetic effect of electricity, and chemical effect. In the previous chapter, we learned about the heating effect of electricity. Means when the current is passed through the conducting wire, it produces heat, and that is called the heating effect of electricity. We know that in the bulb there is a filament which is made from the highly melting point metal like tungsten metal. Now when the current is passing through that filament, then due to the heating effect of electricity, the filament is getting heated and the temperature is going so high such that it starts glowing. The tungsten metal is getting high temperature, and because of the high temperature it starts glowing and the bulb will glow. So that is the reason why when we pass the electricity, the bulb glows, and it works on the heating effect of electricity. What is LED? Why is it most important source of light? LED are the bulbs which are known as light emitting diode. The full form of LED is light emitting diode. They are having two terminals. They look like that type of, and they have two terminals. They are of different colors also. Now the one end is bigger, the other one is shorter. The longer end is connected with the positive end of the battery and the shorter end with the negative. Negative terminal and the positive connected to positive terminal, and the shorter end is connected with the negative terminal of the battery. Now, why it is important source of light? Because sometimes we saw that in the tester, when we make the tester, if the current is very low, then the normal bulb will not glow, and then we will not have a right detection that whether the material is good conductor or bad conductor. But LED will glow, doesn't matter when the current is very low. If the current is very low also, then also LED will glow. And therefore, we can easily understand whether the given material is conductor or insulator. And it saves the electricity also. It uses less power, and therefore the LED are most important than the normal bulbs. Next question is, what do you mean by magnetic effect of electricity? We know that when the current is passed through the current carrying wires, they behave like a magnet. So when you take any magnetic material nearby it, then they will be attracted. If you take a magnetic compass near the current carrying electric wire, then the needle in the magnetic compass will show the deflection. So that is known as the magnetic effect of electricity. So whenever the current is passing through the current carrying wires, they behave like a magnet, and around them there will be a magnetic field. So in that magnetic field, if you put that magnetic compass, then the needle will show the deflection. So that is the magnetic effect of electricity. So here we discuss about some questions that you will write down as an assignment all the answers. So here we are going to finish this session, followed by the PDF. And any confusion, write down in the comment section. Thank you.